Brother Sam and Brother Michael. So if all these hands go up, they're going to go around and we're going to make sure that we have the mics going. How does pride interfere with faith? Brother Tony, what did you say?
Destroy it.
Pride destroys faith. Okay, that's interesting. How does pride interfere? I'm going to read the little paragraph that came along with the topic. Do we approach our perception of God, conversion, repentance, Christian walk, marriage, etc., with our own ideas how everything should be, and let our pride get in the way when it doesn't go the way we expected? And then the passage that was given was 2 Kings 5, 1 through 15. What's that about? 2 Kings 5, 1 through 15. Are you familiar? Do you remember that passage? Brother Willie preached on it last night. He preached on Naaman. Okay? So, in some ways, this is going to be an easy for him because Brother Willie covered some of it, but he left a lot of parts for today, purposefully, by God's grace. He did that. So today we're going to examine this idea of how does pride interfere with faith through the life of Naaman, somebody who did not get his own way, whose own perceptions on how things should be done did not align with God's perceptions of how things should be done. Okay, how many of you here drink Starbucks, go and visit Starbucks? Okay, wow. Okay, so I have some gifts here, and these gifts will go to people who participate. I'm going to ask this question, and then for those of you who can remember, I want you to give me the answers here. So, if I told you to go, you can go to Starbucks right now, and you went in, and you were going to order, and Hannah was there to take your order, how would you order? What would you order? Oh, hold on. Iced vanilla coffee. Here you go. There you go. Iced vanilla coffee. Sister Vesna, of course.
Latte with almond milk.
What did you say?
Latte with almond milk.
Latte with almond milk. Pumpkin spice latte. Grande mocha. Huh? Hazelnut coffee. Okay. Is that okay? It's all empty. Okay. So, wow, and how many more of you, I don't have any more gifts, but what are the other ways you'd order? Tea? What? Where's Tim Hortons when you need it? For the Canadians, eh? Okay. So, what do you think? How do you feel about Starbucks' ability to cater to your personal taste in coffee products? What do you think about that? You love it. Whatever you ask. Is that good? What do you mean sometimes? Come on. You're a fan. So if you, Sister Lydia, went into a Tim Hortons, what would you be expecting? Oh, okay, you'd expect the same. Okay. Somebody else. What do you think? How do you feel about their Starbucks' ability to cater to your personal taste in coffee products? Or let's say, why do you think that Starbucks is willing to give you exactly what you want, Brother Thomas?
I would say they're not very good at meeting my desires because they have a standard way of making everything, and I have to order according to that.
So you actually don't feel that they do a good job. They will cater to you as long as you fit in their, 1 out of 1,000 different things. Okay. Okay, for the price you pay, they better cater. They better cater to you. Very good. Okay, Brother Mickey, where Sam? Andale.
Well, as a business, they're trying to build customer loyalty. So, what they're doing is they're trying to make as many options available because they want to buy your loyalty so that you'll just continue to spend money with them. I mean, it's brilliant.
Okay. So they're buying your loyalty. Is Brother Gary, did I say hand? No? Oh, no, you're just scratching your head. Okay. So how do you feel when they don't give you exactly what you want? Maybe they messed up your order. What do you think? How do you feel when they don't give you exactly what you want? Have you ever had that at Starbucks? Okay. Say it again. They gave you caffeinated. Oh, and what happened? Oh, you found out and you took it back. Okay. Who else had an order that wasn't right?
I did, but they gave me a credit for next day will be a free one.
And next day is going to be free. Okay.
Hey, Thomas.
So, but you were upset, right? They took it back. And they gave you a double. Okay. Sorry we messed up, card. Okay. Why are we oh, I'm sorry. Did you have something? Oh, come on.
As for coconut milk for my wife, and it was no coconut milk in it.
Oh, my goodness. Now, I would be upset, wouldn't you? Okay. What? Okay. When there was no coconut milk, and you had to go back to your wife and say, sorry, there's no coconut milk. How did she feel? How did you feel?
I had to go back.
You had to go back somewhere else and she wanted coconut milk. Okay? Okay. Is it okay to want our own way? That rhymes. Is it okay to want our own way? What do you think? Okay, Sam, be on it. Watch for the hands. Is it okay? Anybody else put their hand up? Michael, get him.
I would say if there's a mutual transaction, then yes, right? So if I'm purchasing something like at Starbucks and I'm, like somebody said, for how much you pay, you better get your own way, right?
Okay.
You better get what you want or what you expect because there's a mutual transaction in that case.
Okay. Is it okay to want your own way, or you can flip it around? How would you flip that around? Is it okay over here?
I think it's natural to want your own way.
Ooh, I love it. It's natural, but I cut you off. That you were going to say more.
No.
It's natural to want our own way. Is that true, Brother Alex?
Well, yeah, that's true. I was just going to say, if you're the boss, I think it's okay.
If you're the boss.
If you're the boss, you expect people to do it your way when you tell them and you're paying them their paycheck, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, in that case, yeah, it's okay to.
Only if you're the boss.
Well, there may be other times too.
Okay. Are we ever the boss? How many here? Oh, Sister Lydia.
No, I was just going to say that if I'm getting it my way, you can't have it your way. So the realities of life are that we can't always have it our way or always expect it our way.
Oh, okay. If there's one thing you're going to write down, here it is. If you want it what did you say? Say it again.
You better write it down.
No, I'm supposed to remember.
Write it down.
I say,
have it written.
if I want it my way, then you can't have it your way.
Okay, right there. If I want it my way, you can't have it your way. Okay? Now let's analyze this. The brother said that we need to dig a little bit. We need to make sure that's a true statement. Is that a true statement? If I want it my way, you can't have it your way. Sister Lydia? Okay, so there's that caveat, unless we both happen to want the same thing. But is that true or is it not? Tell me if it's not true.
Very true.
It's very true. Brother Bill, and then Brother Kirk.
The scripture verse, delight thyself in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
Okay, delight thyself in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Brother Kirk.
There are some situations where there are some situations where what I want is for the other person to get what they want, and comes to mind when serving the Lord. If we truly want to serve him the way the scriptures describe, then it's getting what he wants from us. And there are other relationships, like say with a spouse, there will be times when you want to make sure your spouse gets what they want for a certain occasion.
For a certain occasion. Oh, that's interesting. I'm sure that you had to dig deep for that thought. Okay? But if you love your spouse, then you should always be preferring one another, right? You should be wanting their way, and they should be wanting your way, and that's the definition of love, right? So if we're practicing that, that's a great way. So Lydia, I actually think I agree with you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I think that's excellent. Okay, so 2 Kings chapter 5. Brother Willie read all of most of that, but I want to just reread 9 through 14. Somebody can read that, 9 through 14. Who's going to do it so we can get a microphone there? You don't need to have a loud voice because we have microphones. Hey, there it goes. Sorry.
9 through 14?
Yeah.
Okay. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away and said, Behold, I thought, he will surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And the servants came near and spake unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, Wash and be clean? Then he went down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again, like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean.
And he was clean. What do we know? Was Naaman a happy-go-lucky man? Was he a discontent person? Was he a content person? What do we know about Naaman? You can look back in the chapter a little bit. I know you read it last night too. But what? Proud. He was proud. Okay. He was used to getting what he wanted. Okay. He was the boss.
I was just going to say, it seems that he must have had some good attributes because his servants, all of them, seem to actually like him to some extent.
Okay. So let's talk about his history a little bit. Was he a God-fearing man? No? Not that we know of. But, okay, you're saying no because he thought the king can heal him. What about verse 1 or 2 when it says about Naaman's exploits? Who helped Naaman conquer these cities of Israel and kidnap young children?
The Lord.
What did it say?
The Lord.
The Lord. Isn't that interesting? This is a true statement, but if I can just take a little segue, right? If you read that, what verse is it? Is it 2? 1. And let's just read it out loud. Yeah, go ahead.
Now Naaman, captain of the host of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. Because by him the Lord had given.
Wow. When I think of that, I think that, we're supposed to pray for our government, right? And the scripture says that God sets up kings and he takes them down. This right here is a confirmation. And so he goes out and he's against Israel. He slays them. He kidnaps them. He takes them home. He makes them their slaves. Right? He was the boss. But it really doesn't talk about him. You know, we don't have much. But it didn't seem like he was an angry, upset person, right? People liked him. The little maid who said, oh, if my Lord would know that prophet in Israel, what kind of a heart did she have? You know, it doesn't seem like he was a tyrant to her. Okay? So, it doesn't seem like he was a generally angry person, but now, where we read, what did we read? Why was he wroth or angry? Yeah, okay. Sorry, Michael. He felt it was beneath him. Brother Mitch, over here. Sam. Let's be on, boys.
He had expectations that were not filled.
Oh, he had expectations that were not fulfilled. Okay? Right. Sam, right behind you. Yep.
Maybe he thought he had a better way. He thought the other rivers were better.
Well, he did say that, right? In his mind, those other rivers were better, greater for some reason. Excellent. Cleaner. Okay. Brother Tony. If it's short. Go ahead.
In 1965, when we got married with Erica, we went to Israel for a couple, 3 weeks. And we want to go to see River Jordan, where supposedly the Lord Jesus was baptized.
Yeah.
So we were going with our car, and it was River Jordan was the border with Israel, which they just conquered.
Yeah.
With Jordan, so that was a secured area. So they stopped us, and they asked us, "Where are we going?" Well, we said, "The River Jordan." "Why would you go there?" He says, "A soldier."
Okay.
Don't you have Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And yeah, has anybody seen the Jordan or? Yeah. Is it big? You know, there is nothing other than the fact that God has used it miraculously for a number of things, right? Okay. So, was he? How can I say this here? Why was he angry again? Anger is an emotion, right?
And Elijah just told him, go tell him to do 7 times in the Jordan River, it'll be fine. So he said, hey, what's this? You know,
Okay, got
he
it.
expected Elijah to come and kind of meet him and do something for him.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What he was expecting was Elijah would come out to him and do something for him. Brother Alex?
Yeah, I was just going to say he didn't even see Elijah. Elijah sent a messenger, so he's kind of feels like, well, I'm somebody, and you're sending nobody here.
Right, I'm somebody, you're sending nobody, and so he was angry. All the way in the back, Jimmy. Was there another hand up here? Somebody has another microphone.
I think the problem is he had a preconceived opinion or a thought of what was going to happen and how it was going to happen, and when it did not, was it miraculous or Big Bang or something like that? He's like, but he didn't have the faith that even with that the Word of God, with just obeying what he said, is enough.
Okay, excellent, Brother Jose.
He received orders and he didn't like it at all.
Okay, now he was receiving the order and he didn't like that. Excellent, Brother Mickey.
So I think it's clear that he didn't get his way here, right?
Right.
And like it was alluded to with Brother Alex, in this case, he wasn't the boss, right? He comes here and he's not in charge, just like we're hearing. But another thing is he comes here and this is not a mutual transaction. He doesn't have a right to his way.
Right.
He's coming asking for something that he can't get any other way. And it's funny because later in the story, he almost treats it like it's a transaction by trying to pay them, almost like, hey, I'm going to buy this miracle from you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, that's not how this works, right? Or at least Elijah says that. So, it's interesting. He's angry because he wanted it his way, but he wasn't entitled in this case to have it his way.
Okay, excellent. It wasn't a mutual transaction. Excellent. Is it okay to be angry?
Yes.
Yes, resounding.
Be angry and sin not. I don't know exactly where it's written.
Okay, let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Excellent. Other references. Who else do we know that was angry? Who?
Jonah.
Oh, Jonah. Okay. So was it? Doest thou well to be angry, Jonah?
Unto death.
Unto death. You took away my gourd, right, Brother Dick?
Jesus was angry when he saw what the exchange people did in the temple.
Temple, right? So Jesus had an angry response to something that was offending God. So we have to understand that it's not just anger, okay? Anger from emotions that destroy. There's a class or lesson material, and it's talking about emotions. And anger is classified as a secondary emotion. You write that down if you want to write something down. A secondary emotion. What does that mean? As a secondary emotion, that is because something else is triggering that, right? You know, in Jesus' case, what triggered his anger? Okay, house of the Lord. There was something over here. What triggered his anger? Sadness. Say it loud. Sin. Okay, so there was sin in sacrilege. There was all of this sin going against, and Jesus is righteous. And he had a righteous anger. Okay, Brother Jim?
Yeah, so good discussion here. I would just like to read this. His disciples remember that it was written that the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. So I think there's a difference between jealousy and anger.
Okay.
So something to consider.
Something to consider. Okay. So we have that type of anger. Naaman's anger was based upon, I think somebody said over here, pride. Are we all agreed in that? Pride. Let's talk about pride. Can you give me a definition of pride? Lifted up in oneself. Okay, what else?
We think we're worth more than we are.
We think we're worth more than we are. Excellent. What else? We put ourselves first. Excellent. Confidence in our abilities. Excellent.
There's a little store in downtown Clovis.
Uh-huh.
The name of that store is called It's All About Me.
Oh, what a great store. Okay, Brother Kirk.
I think ultimately pride includes placing ourselves in a position that belongs to God.
Okay, placing ourselves like Satan. We're going to get to that in Isaiah 14. He wanted to lift himself up. Brother Mickey?
Brother Jim, how can it all be about you when it's all about me? Just kidding.
That's right. That's what the sword is for. It's all about. Anyway. Okay. So is all pride bad? Can I be proud of my son? Is that bad?
What's the difference between pride and gratefulness?
Pride and gratefulness? Thankfulness? Okay, it's a better way to say it. Somebody way in the back. Brother Mark. Brother Mark. No, I can't hear you.
I think the Bible uses another word for pride in that instance. I think the apostle often used the word glory. He glories in things.
Okay. Excellent. You know, there is another word used for the word pride, and it's called hubris. Have you ever heard of that word, hubris? Brother Kirk? It's not, be thankful, it's not Huber. Okay? It's not Huber in any shape or way. It's hubris. And this, from the Greek, is a pride that blinds. Okay? So there's a little difference, right? It's a pride that blinds because it often causes the committer of hubris to act in foolish ways that belie common sense. So in Naaman's case, he had hubris that caused him to be angry. He was so full of himself, so content that it had to go his way, that even though it was a very simple thing, go dip yourself, right? But because it wasn't his way, I thought it would be this way. I thought the man of God, maybe it was just that instance that the man of God didn't come out. Maybe that's what set him off. But it went from, okay, yeah, I know I'm pretty good. yeah, I have leprosy, but look at all the great things I have done, right? And it went from that to all of a sudden there's a snap, there's this anger. And let's talk about this in in emotions that destroy. That anger that pops up, this is, it was made the analogy that it's like the check engine light on your car. How many of you have ever had that check engine light on your car on? Everybody. Okay, how many still have it on right now? Okay. I saw a T-shirt. It had a picture of a check engine light, and it said, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." Okay? I'm just gonna let it shine. So it's quite opposite, though, of their. What's that song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Sing it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine all the time. Stop, okay? What's that talking about? It's not about your check engine light, right? It is about letting our light of Christ shine out, right? That's what it's talking about. But when you are angry because of hubris, okay? Because of hubris, this is like a check engine light in your life. If you feel angry, more often than not, that's a little check engine light inside your soul saying, hey, there's something deep down going on wrong inside of you. What is it? Stop and let's take, for Naaman, he should have said, he's wroth, right? He's angry. And if he was godly, if we are godly, we should say, okay, why am I angry? Is it because God's law is being stomped on and trodden? No, it's not that. Is it because this? Is it because I want my own way? Okay, Sister Lydia said, it's a truth. If you have your way, I can't have my way, right? We can't all have our own way. By definition, you can't. Everybody can't have their own way. That's why the love of God is such that, this marriage relationship, this is a picture that God has given us of, I love so much that I'm going to give up my own way, right? And if we can really do that, we have a marriage that is made in heaven. If we don't, maybe it's hell on earth, right? Okay, so it's important to understand that when we have these feelings of anger, that's a little check engine light. And every time you get angry, think of that song. You all sang it. This little light of mine. And as you're thinking about this little light of mine, think about what that light is. I'm angry right now. Is that the light you're going to let shine? Heaven forbid, right? You don't want to let that angry. I'm always angry. Why are you always angry? Because I can't get my own way. Well, what is it that you can't get your own way? There's no coconut milk. There's no coconut milk. Sometimes we get angry that there's no coconut milk, right? Okay, so let's go back to pride. Let's turn to Isaiah chapter 14. And I'm just going to read it, but I want you to look at it because this is one of the verses or set of verses that we have in the scripture that really talks about who Satan is. Pride is what made the devil, to quote C.S. Lewis. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Those 5 I wills, right? A lot of times we come to a forum and we go away, and there's nothing we remember, right? 5 minutes later, 5 hours later, nothing we remember. The only thing you need to remember from today is that check engine light, right? When that check engine light comes on in your life, when you feel anger, may God work in your heart. Or maybe somebody says, why are you so angry? God gives you a little help, right? He gives you a little start from, like Naaman's servants. What did they say? My father, why are you so upset? Is it a big thing to go dip yourself in the Jordan? Why don't you just listen? And you know what's amazing about Naaman? What did he do? He went, right? So in some ways, I think he was a great man, because even though we all have those times of anger, right? This anger wells up within us, and sometimes it's a righteous anger, but more often than not, it's because we didn't get, just give me a few stories. When was some time you didn't get your own way and you were angry? Glenn, I see it in your face. You guys share? Okay, here he is.
I can't think of it right now.
You can't think of it?
I'm laughing in anticipation.
You're laughing in anticipation. Come on, I need a few stories. Lori has one.
Yeah, it's going to go on with the Prince Charming
Oh,
story.
no.
Okay?
What did I do?
Well, you asked for a story.
Yeah, Glenn, I can see him laughing now.
So, no, I remember being young and single, and I remember kind of having in my mind that there was somebody that I thought I wanted to marry, someone that I had a crush on. And I prayed and asked God to please take away those feelings. If it was not going to be his will for me to marry that person, then please take away those feelings. And I prayed it in faith. And the feelings didn't go away. So I was like, oh, well, maybe God's letting me have these feelings so that eventually I can marry that person. And then that person ended up getting engaged. And I was really upset because I said, Lord, I told you can take away the feelings, And he didn't. And it seemed like he didn't answer my prayer. And I was hurt. I was upset. I didn't understand. And now later on in life, as I look back, I'm like, well, maybe God wanted me to keep the feelings till the very end because he wanted me to marry you, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some other guy could have come along.
Yeah,
and you were protected.
Yeah, I don't really, but at the time, it was really a struggle, an emotional struggle, and so that was one time.
Okay. Somebody else.
My big problem is I like everything to go efficiently. I don't like anything to kind
Those Germans.
And, I had one day where it just seemed like everything went wrong. I was trying to hurry up and make dinner, and I was trying to pull something out of the refrigerator. I forget what it was. It was some food. It was a big bowl of it, and it just fell out and all over the hardwood. And it was like, oh my goodness, now I have to stop and clean this up, like this kind of thing. And I have to stop and realize that that's not really important,
Right.
So that's what gets me upset.
Okay, we have Brother Arnold, and then we're going to go to Melody, and then to Bethany. Arnold.
Yeah, I get to work with my dad.
And?
So I needed to teach him how to use QuickBooks.
Okay.
So my dad and technology don't go together too well. So I was trying to teach him, and I thought he had learned something. And then he calls me back, Arnold, I pushed the button, it don't work. So did it 5 times, showed him, thought he had it. An hour later, Arnold, it's still not working. Dad, you didn't do what I said. So, I started getting angry or upset. I'm like, just got, upset, raised my voice. And later I realized it's not like he was doing this on purpose, like he was purposely forgetting.
Okay.
He honestly is just struggling with figuring out the software.
You thought he was like purposely antagonizing you?
Not necessarily, but it's just he wasn't getting it, and I didn't understand
okay,
why
so
he
that's
wasn't
more I understand that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Sister Melody.
I came to my boss, to the principal of the school, with a great idea. And I thought, it's perfect for ministering to the teachers that don't know the Lord, and let's just have this this kind of a structure where we can share the Lord with them. And I thought it was the greatest idea ever. And I presented it to him, and he thought it was good, but he said, okay, it has this and this and this problem. So I went back and I kind of tweaked it, came back with it, and the process was repeated about 4 or 5 times. And finally, I just gave up. I was so mad. I was like, he's not validating this really important ministry, and I was just questioning his questioning his faith and his wanting to build relationships, and I was very upset. And it finally came to a point where I realized that he had a different agenda, and where God had to show me, you know what, you're saying that your ministry is more important than your boss's ministry.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden I saw that it was more of a prideful thing, that I was trying to be the savior, and in that totally disregarding what he thought was most important.
Okay, very good. And Bethany, way in the back. And that'll be the last one here.
Prince Charming. No, it's about cinnamon rolls, not Prince Charming. So we have the fundraiser going on for Zambia, and I told Danelle and Michelle and the ladies, I said, well, I can make cinnamon rolls. People like my cinnamon rolls. I'm like, okay, sure, that's great, as long as you can, make sure you have enough and it'll all go well. And then Friday morning comes around, I'm like, I'm gonna make fresh cinnamon rolls for everybody. First batch, there was a bad egg. Second batch, same first batch, I didn't put cinnamon in it. Second and third batch, the yeast didn't rise. By the time it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was a complete mess. And Getty came home. I'm like, I had an awful day. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And that was about it. And for me, it was so frustrating because I felt I'm doing such a good cause. I'm going to do it for, the fundraiser for the Zambian children who don't have shoes and sweaters. And I felt like it was a good thing, but things kept on going wrong. And I couldn't figure it out. But I kept on praying through it all. And my cinnamon rolls are gone, so I guess it worked.
They were good, but maybe there was that, I'm doing this for the orphans, and people will really love my cinnamon rolls, right? So, God had to let you know that it's not you. If it's us, we're going to put bad eggs, and we're going to forget cinnamon, right? That's if it's us. But with God's help, we can make great cinnamon rolls, right? Okay. So, I think we know this one. Happiness. Does it depend on happenings? Does happiness depend on happenings? No. Right? So if Melody was expecting her boss to, make these things happen, right? If her happiness was vested in that, and he said no, all of a sudden her happiness is dashed. Every time our happiness is fixated on something out of our control, right? We're supposed to be content in what we have. It doesn't mean that we can't strive to do good things, but if we're not, if we are saying, okay, if this happens, then I'll be happy, right? If you're not happy, a lot of times it's, here was Naaman. Was he happy that he had to go? That he was told? Well, he was angry, right? He was not content with the circumstances. He was rejecting the circumstances. Elijah said, here it is. And he said, I reject your proposal, right? In our lives, whatever our little circumstance is, if we're not happy, it's because we are rejecting. And why are we rejecting? Because we're better than that. Because we deserve something better. Because I deserve a double latte instead of the single latte that somebody gave me, right? Okay. I'm going to read a paragraph here from C.S. Lewis talking about pride, right? This raises pride. This raises a terrible question. How is it that people who are quite obviously eaten up with pride say that they believe in God and they appear themselves to be very religious. I am afraid it means that they are worshiping an imaginary God. They theoretically admit themselves to be nothing in the presence of this phantom God, but really are all the time imagining how he approves of them and thinks of them far better than ordinary people. That is, they pay a pennyworth of imaginary humility to him, and they get out of it a pound's worth of pride towards their fellow men. Luckily, we have a test. Whenever we find that our religious life is making us feel that we are good, that we are above all, that we're better than somebody else, I think that we may be sure that we are being acted on not by God, but by the devil. The real test of being in the presence of God is that you either forget about yourself altogether, or you see yourself as a small, insignificant object. It is better to just forget about yourself altogether. It's not about me, right? Okay. Just a recap. Hubris is that pride that blinds. When we have that pride that blinds, we make irrational decisions and we get angry. We have unrational expectations that, as Brother Jimmy said, they're not met. When they're not met, that emotional check engine light comes on of anger, and that is our warning sign that we need to go back and check ourselves and put ourselves in the proper place. So that, going back to the very beginning, how does pride interfere with our faith? Right? If we have that thought deep inside hiding that somehow we're better, we're not. Somehow we deserve, somehow my way, my idea is the best. It's not. Unless it is, right? And then that's where as brothers and sisters, we talk, we agree, we come together. And then for his honor and glory, not ours, we go forward. Any other thoughts or comments? Okay. Thank the Lord and you. Have a good afternoon. Oh, Zambia. Brother Arnold.